Cassandra Ortiz arrived at the Department of Supernatural Services with two travel mugs, one filled with coffee, the other with Type O neg synthetic blood. Experience had taught her that whichever client got a whiff of what they needed first would claim the cup. A social worker didn't survive 9 years in occult public assistance by being unprepared, even on mornings when the sky itself looked sluggish and underfunded. The security gargoyle perched above the brass detector gave her a stony nod. He used to memorize every face. Now he skimmed. Budget cut. One less night shift enchantment meant he had to conserve magic the same way Cassandra conserved toner. She flashed her credential, DSS Caseworker 4, and stepped into the building's fluorescent hush. Her inbox already overflowed. Overnight memos fluttered like frantic moths. Emergency directive, 66.1, further 40% reduction to line. Item, supplementary vital fluids. Mandated consolidation of lycanthropic anger management groups. 6 groups merged to 1. Streaming service vouchers for celestial beings suspended effective immediately. In other words, she thought, the end times on a shoestring. At 8:05 a.m., she called her first client. Victor Draculescu? She tried to pronounce it with the Central European lilt he liked. Office 3. The vampire drifted in, wearing a thrift store suit too big for his parchment frame. His once luxuriant hair had thinned to wisps, revealing the puckered scar where someone had tried to stake him in the 70s. The immortal poor, aged in strange, heartbreaking ways. "Good morning, Ms. Ortiz," he intoned, voice courtly but ragged. "Or is it? Your memo was distressing." She handed him the blood-filled mug. He sniffed, sighed with gratitude, and sipped. "That cup," she said, "might be symbolic of the last one the city can pay for this month. The council/supernatural welfare again. Then starvation awaits," Victor said, deadpan literal. "Have you seen a starving vampire? We get unpleasant." Cassandra had, once. It cost 2 Precinct 6 officers and 1 K9 unit. "I'm working on it. Until then, community donors are stepping up." He arched a brow. "I tried the food bank. They told me to wait behind 2 ghouls and a succubus. The succubus left satisfied. The ghouls, less so." Cassandra tapped her keyboard. "There's a non-profit, Crimson Cross. They can supply 4 pints a week if you volunteer for nighttime litter pickup." "Blood for garbage." Victor considered, then nodded. "If it keeps me from tearing into the sanitation department itself, very well." She logged the arrangement, heart hammering with gratitude that crisis number 1, at least, had not exploded. Yet. At 9:30, she hustled down the hall to Conference Room Lupus for the newly consolidated Anger Management Circle. 27 folding chairs formed a shaky oval. 12 werewolves already occupied them, packed shoulder to shoulder. Full moon syllabus reduction meant the program now ran bi-weekly instead of weekly, so tempers had compressed like a fault line ready to jump. "Ground rule review," Cassandra announced. She held up the battered talking stick, technically a chew toy. "Whoever has the squeaky bone has the floor. No interruptions, no transformations." A baritone growl rumbled from the far wall. Cliff Harper, alpha by consensus of decibel level, raised a hairy knuckle. "What if bureaucracy is what's making us angry?" "Then you squeak and you share," Cassandra said. "But you stay human while you're doing it." Cliff accepted the toy. "We're shorted on silver nitrate tranquilizer, shorted on therapy sessions. You squeeze us into a room that smells like bleach and fear, then tell us to breathe. Guess what? Breathing's the problem. Our inner wolves need a run." A chorus of snarls backed him up. "I hear all of you," Cassandra said. "I'm negotiating with Parks and Rec for moonlight leash-free hours. They suggested 2 a.m. Tuesdays." "Tuesday is garbage night," another werewolf barked. Cassandra's shoulders slumped. "I'll keep pushing." Behind her veneer of calm, she tallied risk. 1 lapsed anger management graduate equaled 3 maulings before breakfast and blanket headlines screaming, "Supernatural Services fails citizens again." The new mayor liked simple solutions. The simplest was to dissolve DSS altogether. At 11:15, she took the elevator to the 7th floor Starlight Suite reserved for celestial clients. Only one waited. Sarah Fiel, Guardian First Class, on unpaid leave. His 6 wings were back-folded and powdery, feathers shedding like dandruff onto a beanbag chair. His gaze fixed on a tablet streaming a reality TV marathon at maximum brightness. "Knock, knock," Cassandra said. He didn't glance up. "It's Cassandra, your social worker." Still nothing. She muted the tablet remotely with her phone. Only then did he stir, eyes wide with betrayed intensity. "I was watching House Haunters. They were about to reveal whether the poltergeist was the original homeowner or a disgruntled plumber. We need to talk," she said. "Your streaming voucher ended today." The angel's halo flickered, dimmed. "You can't cut me off mid-season. I balance on a narrative cliffhanger. Seraphil, you're a designated guardian of the Eastern Seaboard. Your absenteeism rate is 92%. There are open celestial complaints, missed miracles, unacknowledged prayers, a mass pileup on I-95 that you could have cushioned with a wingtip." "I DVR'd that," he winced. "Was going to fix it retroactively. My manager hasn't noticed. Budget audits are cross-checking case files with Divine Ledgers next week. If they find you binging instead of guarding, you'll be cashiered, fallen. And a fallen angel loses not only streaming privileges, but, grace." Seraphil hugged the tablet like a life raft. "How do humans cope without binge therapy? We budget. That's what all this is about." He peered at her. "The rumors, then? You mortals slashed funds so deep the apocalypse jumped schedule?" Cassandra exhaled. "Let me walk you through the dominoes." She sketched on the whiteboard. 1, budget cut. 2, loss of welfare. Blood 3, hungry vampires riot. 4, police overextend resources. 5, werewolves miss meds. 6, citywide rampage. 7, guardian angels distracted. 8, seals of Abaddon weaken. 9, actual Armageddon. "It's a pyramid scheme of doom," she concluded. "And we're at the narrow top, trying to plug the holes with chewing gum." Seraphil lowered his wings. "How do we stop it?" "That, funnily enough, is step 10. She added a line. 10. Miraculous lobbying. The angel tilted his shining head. "Lobbying, like testimonies, hearings. City council reconvenes tonight. They can reverse the cuts if we prove they endanger public safety. I need clients to speak. I need you, Victor, the werewolves. You're recruiting your own caseload. In my defense, you're the ones on the brink of unleashing hell." He considered. Sunlight caught in his feathers, and for a heartbeat they burned white hot. The old power, not fully forgotten. "I'll testify," he said, "but only if we finish House Haunters first." She rolled her eyes. "Fine. 1 episode, speed-watched, then we suit up." The afternoon blurred in frantic phone calls, coaxing, bribing, crisis triaging. Cassandra found extra blood bags in the infirmary cooler, courtesy of the Crimson Cross volunteers. She negotiated a trial howl permit with Parks and Rec. Sunday 3 a.m., 1 hour, remote dog beach. Paperwork signed, scanned, forwarded. Micro solutions to macro chaos. By 5:45 p.m., the lobby resembled a mythological flash mob. Cliff and 5 representatives from the Werewolf Circle wore neckties over flannel. Victor arrived in an upgraded suit, still thrift store, but tailored. Seraphil shimmered in a discounted tuxedo t-shirt because, as he put it, irony wins hearts. They piled into 2 city vans. Cassandra drove the first, hands at 10 and 2. The gargoyle moonlighted as volunteer security and clung to the roof. Downtown, City Hall's neo-Gothic facade glowed green from emergency exit lights, another budget casual. Inside, procedural chatter echoed beneath unpaid chandeliers. The council dais held 9 members and 1 vacant seat, where an ethic violations plaque now rested. Behind them, unseen but definitely present, Cassandra sensed other spectators, lobbyists, activists, maybe a demon or two sniffing opportunity. She signed the speaker sheet, then shepherded her clients to the front row. A clerk began, "Next, we'll hear testimony regarding appropriation, Bill 666B, the Supernatural Services Sequestration." Cassandra stepped up first. Her voice trembled, but training kicked in. "Honorable counselors, my name is Cassandra Ortiz, caseworker Ivo, Department of Supernatural Services. These cuts are not abstract numbers. They are fangs without food, claws without counseling, halos without purpose. Remove supports and the community you protect will unravel. We submit 3 statements. She gestured to Victor. The vampire glided to the lectern. Microphones squealed. He winced but continued. Centuries ago, I was nobility. War reduced me to stateless vagrancy. America promised new life. Your welfare blood program, as modest as a cup a night, keeps me lawful. Suspend it, and my survival instinct, predatory, involuntary, will supersede civil restraint. One vampire's hunger becomes contagion. You fear sensational headlines? Imagine naked necks on Main Street. Pass the bill, and you sign the warrant. People shifted uneasily. Blood was visceral, numbers weren't. Next came Cliff. He cracked his knuckles, clearly rehearsing deep breathing. We're not monsters by choice, he began. Lycanthropy's a chronic condition. Management, not cure, is the goal. The city used to fund silver nitrate calming sprays, chew therapy, supervise forest runs. Now you cut the program, toss us into cramped apartments, and call the cops when we snap. That's like handing out guns, then canceling training. A reporter scribbled quickly. The crowd murmured. Finally, Seraphiel approached. Every phone in the chamber lit up with unbidden camera flashes. Angels drew attention. He cleared his throat. I'm Seraphiel, guardian of the Eastern Seaboard, employee ID 0000A. I'm here because even heaven runs on red tape. I, lapsed in my duties, seduced by earthly distractions. He lifted his tablet, displaying paused video. I forgot that stories matter because lives matter, not the other way around. Without guardians, coincidences tilt dark. The toddler in traffic, the drunk driver, the overlooked virus mutation. You won't trace calamity to this budget line, but trust me, it backtracks. Fun DSS and unseen tragedies stay invisible because they never happen. He spread his wings. Feathers rustled like hymn sheets. A hush fell. Councilwoman Dahl, a pragmatic centrist, leaned forward. Ms. Ortiz, you realize the city's deficit is $40 million? We cut everywhere. Schools, libraries. Why is your department special? Cassandra forced her breathing steady. Because, Councilwoman, when libraries close, citizens become ignorant. When DSS closes, citizens become lunch. Laughter rippled, then died, leaving a sobering echo. But budgets were not only about fear, they hinged on math. Cassandra produced a final chart. Projected costs of supernatural crises versus prevention. Hospital bills, property damage, class action lawsuits, military deployment. The prevention line, a slim pale blue, underlined every red spike. Councilman Reyes, the youngest member, clicked his pen. I notice none of your projections include alternative funding. A tall man in an impeccable suit stood from the back row. His tie clip bore a serpentine sigil. Madam Chair, permission to speak? The room chilled. Cassandra recognized Malphus Grimm, lobbyist for Infernal Interests LLC. Whispers confirmed it. A demon corporation championing deregulation, chaos privatization, and, rumor had it, early apocalypse options. Mr. Grimm, Dahl sighed. 5 minutes. Grimm approached, smile colder than an autopsy slab. Ladies and gentlemen, what Ms. Ortiz calls doom, we call market disruption. Hungry vampires create demand for personal UV-emitting drones. Werewolf rampages grow security industries. Fallen angels diversify the miracle sector through venture saviors. Why stunt economic growth with outdated assistance programs? Seraphiel's feathers bristled. Victor bared a fang. Cliff flexed. Cassandra rose again, asked for the squeaky bone from her bag, and squeezed it sharply. The childish squeak sliced tension better than a gong. Counselors, she said, you must choose which economy you want. One that profits from bandages, or one that prevents bleeding. DSS is cheaper than chaos. Grimm tilted his head. Prevent bleeding? You, madam, are hemorrhaging taxpayers. Cassandra met his gaze. And you're bargaining taxpayers' souls, literally. Gasps. Rumor became allegation, now hovering like a sulfur cloud. Councilwoman Dahl conferred with colleagues. A recess was called. Cassandra sank onto a bench, adrenaline crashing. Victor offered her the still warm coffee she'd forgotten in her bag. She drank without tasting. In the corridor, reporters cornered clients. Seraphiel gave sound bites about guardianship ROI. Cliff snarled at an aggressive mic until Victor intervened, citing etiquette tutorials from 1892. During recess, Grimm approached Cassandra. "Impressive show," he said, "but councils sway like reeds. My proposal eliminates your headaches. Come work for us. 6-figure salary, hazard bonus, vintage coffee subscription." She almost laughed. "And watch the world burn? Hard pass." "Everything burns eventually," he replied. "Some of us prefer front row seats." He tipped an imaginary hat and strolled off, shoes clicking like countdowns. Back in session, the council voted article by article. Funds for the Gargoyle Century restored, $6.3. Vampire nutrition, $5.4. Lycanthropic therapy, $5.3, with one abstention. Angelic streaming voucher, amended to educational content only, passed unanimously after Seraphiel promised to co-produce public service announcements. Then the critical line item, reallocation of 40% cuts. Councilman Reyes addressed the chamber. DSS has demonstrated a prevention-based return on investment and presented risks of catastrophic fallout. I motion we reinstate full funding, plus a 2-year pilot for outcomes evaluation. Dahl seconded. Roll call felt like a decade. 5 ayes, 3 nays. 1 absent seat stayed silent, plaque glinting. Majority carried. Applause thundered. Or maybe that was a collective sigh of relief rattling stained glass windows. Cassandra gripped her clients in a messy group hug. Silk feathers, flannel fur, cold tweed. The gargoyle clapped granite hands. Reporters swarmed. Victor smiled for cameras without showing teeth. Cliff practiced deep breathing. The squeaky bone, confiscated by security, would be mailed to his apartment. Seraphiel shone brighter than the overhead fixtures. Grimm wasn't in the room when the decision fell, but Cassandra glimpsed him outside, dialing a phone, voice sharp as broken glass. Demons rarely conceded. They regrouped. Midnight found the social worker caravan parked outside DSS again. She walked each client in like a parent after prom. Victor loaded donated blood into the fridge and muttered about gourmet seasoning. Cliff scheduled next week's Howl pilot. Seraphiel set up parental controls on his streaming account and drafted miracle catch-up lists. In the otherwise deserted corridor, the gargoyle leaned down. "You saved the city, Ms. Ortiz." She shook her head. "We patched a leak. Apocalypse is patient." He offered a craggy smile. "So are you." She supposed she'd have to be. The budget would threaten collapse again next fiscal cycle. Demons had lobbyists. She had coffee and stubborn optimism. On her desk, the angel had left a handwritten note. "People binge stories because they crave endings. Thank you for writing us a better one, at least for tonight. S." Cassandra folded it into her planner under tomorrow's 12-item to-do list. She slipped on her coat, stepped outside. The city breathed intact under dime store starshine. She inhaled crisp air that smelled of winter and possibility. Somewhere, a werewolf practiced breathing exercises on a rooftop. Somewhere, a vampire reheated sanguine leftovers. Somewhere, an angel hovered above a highway, eyes off the screen, wings outstretched. The apocalypse, postponed by the margin of a single budget line, exhaled a smoky sigh and retreated to wait for the next oversight. Cassandra walked home, both travel mugs empty, but her heart, an organ as mortal as morning, felt audaciously full.